Steph, it's lovely to chat to you today for She Can. Tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Steph, it's very nice to be with you and talking for She Can. I love what you're doing and what your objective is to get the female energy in its rightful place and with the right balance. So it's a pleasure. Thank you. Tell you about what I do. Well, I co-founded Galapagos Safari Camp, which is a tented camp in the Galapagos Islands with my husband. And we obviously run the camp. And at the same time, we have a tour operator that does tailor-made holidays in the Galapagos and Ecuador. So that's what we have been doing for 16 years now, actually.
It's
Yes.
amazing, Steph. It's so cool. You're both such adventurous. Steph, tell me a little your journey to get to that stage. How did you get to this place to run the camp and the tour operator?
Well, that's an interesting question. Both my husband and I have mixed backgrounds in the sense of how we have been brought up and where we have been exposed to. I'm English Ecuadorian. I grew up in Ecuador, but I had left in my teens. And so when we came together as a couple at the very early stages, we went on holiday to Ecuador and we went to the Galapagos. And we did fall in love with the land and the nature. It was a ridiculous love affair with the Galapagos. And it coincided with a stage in life where we were looking for something else. So it was a means of redesigning our lives, so to speak. We didn't want to be in the rat race or in a civilized environment. We wanted wild adventure, in the bush. And that's what we did. So one thing led to another. There was a beautiful piece of land bordering the national park in the highlands of Santa Cruz. And we started visualizing this adventure and lifestyle. So it went from the type of life that we wanted to live and to a business. So both of them went hand in hand. And of course, then the children were born there and things evolved. And yeah, one thing led to another. And here we are over a decade later doing what we do.
It's amazing, Steph. I love that story. Tell me a little bit more about the camp and the tour operator, what you offer. Promote to me a little bit the place.
The camp. Yes, well, what we do is very unusual for the Galapagos. You know, when you think of the Galapagos, you think of cruising, inevitably. And that's what most people have done so far. For us, the Galapagos was not so much around the archipelago, but also very much within our island. So it was finding that blend of being able to experience the archipelago, but also having time to be on land. And on the land and in the land, if you see what I mean. So we started by building the camp, which is very small and exclusive. We only have 9 tents and a family suite. And we love the romance of the African tented camps. So we emulated that also because we felt that we wanted to do something different. At the time, there was nothing in Latin America of that sort. So we wanted to show people that there were other formulas which were very respectful of the environment. And we call it appropriate luxury because we don't believe that an urban luxury bubble is exactly appropriate to that type of environment. So we wanted to set an example, if you will, in practices that were more akin to the environment where we lived. So we started building the hotel, so to speak, the tented camp, and then that evolved towards the creation of safaris, as we call them. And so, again, we didn't want to recreate the obvious mainstream formula that you see in the Galapagos of you have your package from Monday to Sunday, and that's how you will explore the Galapagos. we turned it around and did the opposite. So if you are to come to us, we will design something for you, taking into account your interests. Are you into photography, or are you into flora? Do you want to get immersed with the local farmers or artists? What do you want to do? How do you see your Galapagos experience beyond the holiday? Obviously, you're going to relax, but it's more about digging a little bit deeper. Are you coming with your children? How old are your children? What are their interests? So it's a lot of work, because obviously, you know, it would be so much easier to say, okay, this is your itinerary, off you go. So no, we work to create an experience for you. That is what we do. And then, of course, one thing led to another, and we started doing that for Ecuador mainland as well, so that you could do not just the Galapagos, but explore the country a little bit more, which has so much to offer. So that's yes, that's what we do.
Sounds incredible. I want to come right now. Tell me what you think is your superpower. I mean, it sounds as if you have such a connection to the land. It sounds like you're the keeper of the place, and you got there and you felt that you were the keepers of this, you know, incredible place. And it sounds almost sacred. And so I'd love to know what you think you have that makes you successful in what you're doing.
Well, we do. Well, superpower is a big word. I don't think I have a superpower as such. I can tell you what makes me do things, which is visualizing. I can visualize a lot. Literally, I can put myself in a place, in a space, and develop that idea. And with that, a lot of resilience in terms of not giving up. I try not to overthink it, so that I don't toy with making decisions. So decision making comes quite easily. And then once that decision is made, I stick to it. So I think that has really helped in the driving force of what we've done. Also, passion. I think there is a lot of passion in what we have done. That brings that resilience to make things happen. So yeah, I would say those two things.
Yeah, I can see that. Steph, what would your top tips be for other women?
When you ask me this question, of course, I think of my daughter. What I would tell her, I wouldn't necessarily tell her that the way I do things is the right way. I would love for young women, especially, to learn to find balance early on. Balance that comes with breathing, with meditation, with being able to take one step at a time and not be overwhelmed with expectations. I think that in our day and age, if you're a woman, to be successful, you need to work that much harder and give so much more. That creates a lot of pressure. I think that the journey should be a little bit easier. And so if one can ease into work with belief and with conviction, and knowing that we are capable of doing absolutely everything and anything, but without fighting it, without overburdening ourselves with pressure, that's what I would love for women in general to do.
I think that's an amazing tip. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Steph, how do you see your future? What are your dreams? Where would you like to be in 5 or 10 years' time?
That's a loaded question. If you asked me this before the pandemic, I would have said that I had a game plan. With the pandemic, especially within our industry and what we do, it's been a huge earthquake. So we've been in a journey, we've been building our dreams, and that, of course, has been so stirred by COVID. And we've had to go back a decade in terms of the business itself. And, you know, without a business, other projects get very stuck and they're waiting for things to reactivate. So at the moment, I'd say that the next couple of years will be all about sustaining the business. and then it'll be picking up where we left from. There were lots of peripheral projects that we were working on to be the first property that was going to be self-sustainable in terms of electricity with solar power. Michael especially had been working on the water collection, which made us self-sufficient with that so that we can take off. But there are other projects, like the cacao project that we had to produce chocolate, that we launched literally as COVID happened. So that hasn't died at all, but it's on hold. So there are lots of other projects that need to be reactivated. I'd like to see them through. So within 5 years, I would love for them to be where they ought to be. One last thing that I would love is to set an example of appropriate luxury within the Galapagos. Sadly, I see that a lot of the projects that had started were very much on the line of urban luxury, and I think that that's not appropriate for a place like the Galapagos. We can do so much more and stir away from mass tourism. So that's what I would love to see happening.
Oh, Steph, that sounds amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. It's deep and beautiful, and I think you've created something so special, and I'm sure that that's going to, that's going to pick up and get you right to where you want to be.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope so too. Thank you for your time.